All right, today we're diving into a project that smashes together two of the biggest forces in tech right now, artificial intelligence and the blockchain. It's called Sentient, and it has one heck of a goal, to build a completely decentralized, open network for AI. So let's get into how they're planning to pull that off.
But before we get into all the nuts and bolts, we've got to start with a really fundamental question. As AI gets more and more powerful, who actually gets to control it? Is it going to be just a handful of giant tech companies? Or could it be, well, all of us? This is the core problem Sentient is trying to solve.
We're really looking at two completely different visions for the future here. On one side, you've got the big tech model we all know, centralized power, systems that are often a total black box, and of course, they're driven by profit. But Sentient is putting something else on the table, a network that's actually governed by its community, built on transparent teamwork, and designed to be aligned with users, not just shareholders.
Okay, so first, let's really break down the problem here. Right now, most of the world's most advanced AI is being built inside what you could call walled gardens.
And this centralized approach, well, it creates some pretty big headaches. When just a few companies control all the powerful AI, you get this massive concentration of power. And with that comes a real lack of transparency. We often have no idea how these models are trained or why they make the decisions they do. The whole thing is geared towards profit, which doesn't always line up with what's best for everyone else. And maybe most importantly, it kills collaboration, keeping all that innovation locked up behind closed doors.
So, what's the alternative? Well, Sentient is proposing a totally different way of doing things, an open network built from the ground up to challenge that old centralized model.
The heart and soul of Sentient is something called the GRID. That stands for the Global Research and Intelligence Directory. The best way to think about it is like a decentralized global brain, or maybe an open marketplace for intelligence. It's a system that lets all the different pieces of the AI puzzle, the agents, the models, the data, and the computing power, all find each other and work together out in the open. So how does the grid actually work? Well, it's built on four key pillars. First, you've got the AI agents. These are the autonomous programs that go out and get tasks done. Second, you need the models and data sets. That's the core intelligence, the brains and the information of the operation. Third, you need compute, the raw processing power to make it all run. And finally, you have the tools and metrics that basically provide the plumbing to make sure it all works together like it's supposed to. Now, you might be thinking, hold on, isn't running all this on a blockchain super slow and crazy expensive? And yeah, you'd be totally right. That's why Sentient uses this really clever hybrid approach. The blockchain is used for the stuff that absolutely needs to be secure and transparent, things like governance, payments, and coordinating who gets what. But the really heavy lifting, all the intense computational work of running AI models, that all happens off-chain, where it can be done fast and efficiently. It's really the best of both worlds. You get the security of decentralization with high-performance power. Of course, a big open network like this needs its own economy to run, and that's exactly where the Cent token comes into play. It's basically the fuel that powers this entire ecosystem. Now, what's really important about how this token is distributed is where the biggest piece of the pie goes. A massive 44% is allocated directly to the community. And look, that's not just some small detail, it's a core part of the strategy. By giving a huge stake to its users, the project is trying to create this powerful network effect, making sure the people who actually use and build on the network are the same people who own and govern it.
So what can you actually do with the Cent token? Well, it's got four main jobs. First, it's your ticket to governance. It gives you a vote on the network's future. Second, you can stake it to help secure the whole system and get access to services. Third, it's the currency you use to pay for AI models, data, or compute power. And finally, it's how you get rewarded for contributing your own resources back to the network.
Okay, the vision is huge, the tech is fascinating, but now let's get real about this project's chances. It's time to look at the promise, the very real peril, and the massive risks that come with a project this ambitious. First things first, this isn't just some small startup working out of a garage. Sentient has raised a staggering $85 million from some of the biggest names in venture capital. We're talking Founders Fund, Pantera Capital. That's serious money from serious investors, and it shows there's a significant belief in this vision. But let's be crystal clear about this. The risks here are absolutely massive. What they're trying to build is technically just incredibly complex. They're going head-to-head with giants like OpenAI and Google, companies that have virtually bottomless pockets. And for any of this to matter, it needs huge adoption from both developers and users. The road ahead is going to be incredibly steep. But then you look at the flip side, and the promise is, well, it's
breathtaking. If Sentient actually succeeds, it could become the foundational layer for a global, open, and collaborative AI. I mean, just imagine a world where access to powerful artificial intelligence isn't some kind of privilege, but it's more like a public utility, accessible to anyone with a great idea.
And this isn't all just theory in a white paper. There are already early signs of life in this ecosystem. The grid infrastructure is up and running. There's an application called Sentient Chat that you can already play around with. We're even seeing developers build tools for decentralized finance on top of the network, which proves it can be a useful platform. And if you go check out their GitHub, you'll see constant, active development. It's definitely still early days, but the foundation is being laid.
So in the end, we come right back to where we started. Sentient is one of the most ambitious bets ever placed on an open future for AI. Whether it works will come down to the tech, the execution, and whether people actually show up to use it. But the project's very existence forces all of us to think about a critical question. What kind of AI future do we really want to build? One that's open to everyone, or one that stays behind closed doors?